Hi brothers and sisters. I said I'd be back for another video that I put in the notes under the last video, that it would be called the controversy of Zion. And I think this again proves my case beyond a shadow of doubt what the wrath of the Lord is really about. And so you know what, we're going to start and try to make it a quick video because I don't know how much time I have. If I don't get it done, I will have to cut it short, and I'll do another part to it when I get the time, okay? So if I'm interrupted, I'll have to cut it short. But this is the verse that I was looking at and kind of studying. And so this is what it says in Jeremiah 25, verse 31. It says, "A noise shall come even to the ends of the earth, for the Lord had the controversy with the nations." It says but she will plead with all flesh. All flesh. She's going to plead with them, all flesh. "And she will give them that are wicked to the sword, saith the Lord." Now, we can go in and read the whole chapter, but I really wanted to look at the controversy. So what is the Lord actually talking about here? What controversy is the Lord talking about? And why is the Lord so angry and going to plead with all flesh? And it says it'll come to the ends of the earth. And it's called "The Lord Hath a Controversy." So what are we told took place in Psalm 137:7? It says, "Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom, in the day of Jerusalem, who said, razed, even to the foundation thereof." Now pay attention to that. Now let's go to Isaiah 34. All right, and we're going to start at verse 5. This is an excellent chapter to read because it's going to take you through so many other parts of the Bible that are going to show you what the end days is actually going to consist of. This is really what this does. Verse 5, it says in Isaiah 34, "For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea." Well, now, what's another word for Idumea? Edom. What's another word for Edom? Adam. And we are looking at the male side of this, I believe, and what he did to his rightful rulers, which were known as the daughters of Zion. All right? And so what's the controversy about here? Well, it tells us what it's about. Okay, so it says, "Will come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse to judgment." Verse 6, "The sword of the Lord is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats." There's your lamb and goat judgment. It says it's filled with the blood of lambs and goats. There's no separation here. Your lambs is your followers, and your goats are your rulers. And it's going to fall on them both alike. All right? "With the fat of the kidneys of rams. For the Lord has a sacrifice," where? In Bozrah. There we come up with Bozrah. Now remember, in the last video, we studied the flock of Bozrah, but in this case, it only appeared once. This Bozrah, I believe, is the one that appears 6 or 7 times. And we know that according to the key of David, when we got studying the passages in the key of David, that Solomon changed the portion of the people. And by doing that, he actually changes the portion of the flock, which is in the midst of the people, which is the harlot now, which is known as daughter Babylon, and this is Bozrah. Had a sacrifice in Bozrah, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea, in the land of Edom, Adam. Now watch, we'll keep going here. "And the unicorn shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance, and the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion." What's the controversy for? Zion. Well, what are we talking about? Why Zion? Well, Psalm 137:7, "Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, razed, even to the foundation thereof." Now, we're going to look at a word here, provided my computer will continue to work. And we're going to finish also if we get the chance, the passage of Isaiah 34 and show you how it links us directly to the end of days. That this controversy of Zion links us to the end of days. And how God will plead. Here we go. A noise shall come even to the ends of the earth, for the Lord hath a controversy with the nations, not he, she. This is the daughter Zion that will strike through her enemies in the day of her wrath. She is the indignant Lord, the indignation of the Lord, she, because she is the rejected righteous spirit. Man chose a covenant with the harlot that would exalt him as God in the earth and reject her as the righteous ruler of the earth and of the heavens, really. When we look at what got exalted into the midst of the body in the second heaven, was Babylon exalting herself by man exalting her. Okay. Now, she will plead with all flesh. Let's look the word plead up here. If we can get it up. Pulled up here for us to look at more closely. Hopefully we won't be interrupted. But what does it say here on interlinear? When we pull all our words up, it says the controversy, and she will plead. Let's look at that. You know, when we think of a court, they plead their case, but watch what it says here. Definition is to judge, to govern. Watch. Argue our case, decide, defend, deliver, dispense, enter into judgment, entered into judgment, hand it down, has a controversy, judge, pleads, pronounce judgment, rule, rulers, vindicate. Look at that. And who do you suppose is doing this? Well, the rejected daughters of Zion, that's who's doing it. Avenge, condemn, contend, defend, execute judgment, be a judgment. A primitive root, to judge, pronounce a sentence for or against, by implication to vindicate or punish, by extension to govern. So we can go on. You can look this word up, but it's the controversy, it says, of Zion. And when you get looking these words up, it's going to take you to this understanding that these daughters of Zion, who are your rulers, that do go forth in the end of days in judgment to all the ends of the earth, and they judge all right, and plead their case with all flesh, and those that are wicked she's going to give to the sword. All right, and watch what it says. Okay, what's the controversy here? We'll go in and we'll look up that word, 7379. And this is what it means. A strife and a dispute. Well, what was in dispute? Well, in the beginning it said, I will cause enmity between the woman and Lucifer. That's the harlot spirit that Adam chose a covenant with to exalt her in his heart, as opposed to the wife of his youth that he had a covenant with, that he dealt treacherously with. We're told that in Malachi 2. So what's this? What's controversy? It's his adversary, your case, your cause, your complaint, your contention, controversy, indictment. Oh, look at that. There we have with an indictment. So I think it's clear what we're looking at in the end of days, especially when we go back in and we read Isaiah 34. And we'll continue on from verse 8. And the streams thereof shall be turned into pitch, and the dust thereof into brimstone, and the land thereof shall become burning pitch. It shall not be quenched. Okay, we're going to continue on and swing down here. All right. Okay, where is it? Okay. Let's go. Okay. All right. Okay, we actually need to backtrack. Let's start in Isaiah 34, and we'll read the first 4 verses at least, okay? And this is what it says. Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth here, and all that is therein, the world and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of the Lord, the indignation of the Lord here is daughter Zion, the rejected Lord and God. All right? She was rejected by man who chose to put the harlot in charge. And in effect, it puts himself in charge, and he exalts himself as a god in the earth. That's what he does. For the indignation of the Lord of the desolate woman is upon all nations, and her fury upon all their armies. She has utterly destroyed them, and she hath delivered them to the slaughter. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains, these are your false rulers, shall be melted with their blood. What does verse 4 say? It says, and all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down, as the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a fallen fig from a fig tree. We already discussed this, but look at that. That lines up with your verse in Revelation 6. All right? And this is the controversy of Zion that we're looking at. All right? This is the wrath of God. This is the indignation of daughter Zion, who sits to the right hand of Christ. In Psalm 110, it is daughter Zion who was the rejected spirit. All right? And she's indignant, and it is her wrath who's going to strike through the kings. And what does it say? In Revelation 6 verse 12, and I beheld when she had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. Verse 13, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as the fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. Verse 14, and the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. Look at that. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains. Verse 16, and said to the mountains and the rocks, fall on us, and hide us from the face of her, not him, that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of the wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? Well, whose wrath is it? The Lord has a controversy for Zion. Jeremiah 51, it says, a noise shall come even to the ends of the earth. For the Lord has a controversy with the nations, and she will plead with all flesh. And she will give them that are wicked to the sword. This is judgment going forth. And what are we told in Daniel 7, verse 27? What are we told? We're told this. Okay. Daniel 7, verse 27 says this. All right. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominion shall serve and obey her, not him. All right. We're continuing on here. Let's go to Isaiah 55, 4. Okay? This is what it says. It says, see, I have made him a winepress. Oh, I have made her a witness to the peoples, a ruler and a commander of the peoples. She is the ruler. She is the rejected Lord out of her place. And she is the rightful ruler of the body. And she is the indignant woman. That's why it is called the indignation of God, or of the wrath of God. And she has a controversy. And because you rejected Zion, daughter Zion, as your rightful ruler, her number is 136. We're told in Psalm 68 that the issues of death, life and death belong to her, to this Lord. It is her right. She will go forth. She will judge the people. We are told if you are doing that which is right, you have nothing to fear of her. But if you are doing wicked and you are not doing what the Lord has ordained for you to do, then you better fear her wrath that's coming. And what does it say? I think it's neat to pull up all of your Your cross-reference verses here on this verse, behold, I have made her a witness, that's your branch, daughter Zion, to the nations, and she is your leader and your commander of the people. Psalm 18:43, let's read it. You have delivered me from the strife of the people. You have made me the head of nations. A people I had not known shall serve me. Watch these verses. Isaiah 16:5. In loving devotion, a throne will be established in the tent of David. A judge seeking justice and prompt in righteousness will sit on it in faithfulness. Now we are told it is the Lord that sits to Christ's right hand in Psalm 110 that will judge the nations. She judges, and it is her wrath that will strike through her enemies. And she is the judge that sits on this throne, and she is daughter Zion. Jeremiah 30 verse 9. Instead they will serve the Lord their God and David their king, whom I will raise up for them. No. They will serve the Lord their God, who is daughter Zion, and Christ their king, whom I will raise up for them. That's in Jeremiah 30 verse 9. You have two here. You do not have two men sitting here. You have the queen, who is the Lord their God, and you have Christ their king. Ezekiel 34:24. I, the Lord, will be their God and my servant. Now I, the Lord, will be their God is daughter Zion, and my servant David will be a prince among them. I, the Lord, have spoken it. She has made it so. Ezekiel 37:24. My servant David will be king over them, and there will be one shepherdess for all of them. They will follow my ordinance and keep and observe my statutes. Okay, so Christ here is your king. Ezekiel 37:25. They will live in the land that I gave to my servant Jacob, Israel, where your fathers lived, where your mothers lived. They will live there forever, and their children and grandchildren, and my servant David will be their prince forever. So we're looking at Christ again. Daniel 9. Know and understand this. From the issuing of the decree to restore and rebuild Jerusalem until the Messiah, there will be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. It will be rebuilt with streets and a trench, but in times of distress. Okay, it says the prince here for the Messiah. It's not. It's daughter Zion, Hosea 3:5. Afterward, the people of Israel will return and seek the Lord their God and Christ their King. They will come trembling to the Lord and to her goodness in the last days. Micah 5:2. But you, Bethlehem Ephrathah, or Ephrata, who are small among the clans of Judah, out of you will come forth for me one to be ruler over Israel, whose origins are old, from the days of eternity. I believe this is the mother spirit speaking about her daughter, who is the commander of the seas. She's the commander of the people. She is your spirit. She is your Lord God that sits on the throne, that was rejected out of her rightful place of rule, and man exalted the harlot spirit. And this is the controversy. And it's all linked to the end days passages. Isaiah 34 clearly links you to these passages, that the controversy is for Zion. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance and the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion, because of what Edom did. It says, a noise shall come even to the ends of the earth, for the Lord has a controversy with the nations. She will plead. All right? That means she's going to judge you with all flesh, and she will give them that are wicked to the sword, saith the Lord. Psalm 137:7. That's what is in Jeremiah 25:31. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom, that's Idumea, in the days of Jerusalem, who said, razed it, even to the foundation thereof. And like we said, they worked and they worked to get these daughters out of the land. And this is what the wrath is about. This is what the indignation is about. And all of Israel will be judged for that. If we go in and I was looking at these complete chapters. Now, I don't know if it was this one. But it does speak of her standing up. Literally, she's going to stand up for her people. And it says Israel will fill the world with her fruits. It's not that chapter. Let's see if I can find the chapter here before I go. Maybe it was 34, Isaiah 34. We'll look at that again. We'll go to the end here. No. Let's pull this one up and see if it's this one. But I was just studying this, and I thought now is probably the best time. I might have a busy week next week, so I don't know if I'm going to get this. I didn't know if I was going to get this video done. But it does speak of... Okay, so it's not in that. Let me go to this chapter and pull up this chapter. And it may be in this chapter. No, it's not there. I forget the verse now. I was just looking at it and I forgot it that fast. But it does so say that Israel will fill the nations, the world, with all their fruit. So it acts like the earth is going to be called Israel. It's almost what that sounds like in that verse, but I can't remember where I just found it. But this is obviously connecting us to the end of days, the daughters of Zion. And they'll say, well, there's no daughter of Zion. There is daughter Zion. She is a singular, just like Christ was a singular. You go back to the very beginning of creation, and that is your example of your Godhead. One male, one female, and she was the spirit taken from within him that was giving him life. And then he made a covenant with the harlot that leads to death. And we know what that does. It leads to a man inside of a man. The man is represented as a tabernacle, and your female is represented as a spirit. Now, he chose a covenant with the harlot spirit, but eventually that harlot spirit says, hey, dude, you're in charge of yourself. And he finds himself walking down in some pretty crooked paths when he starts exalting himself as God inside of the tabernacle. Because then you're having a real abomination is what you're looking at. The abomination that maketh desolate, which is what we looked at in the last video. So there you have it. This is your controversy. This leads to the wrath, to the day of the Lord's wrath, to the indignation of the Lord that sits to Christ's right hand. She's finally stood up. She finally woke up to the truth. And she's going to go forth. I think we're very soon to be transformed. I've been getting some pretty cool words lately from the Lord. What was one of them? If I can remember it, I'll share it. I just can't remember it right offhand. But it had the idea to disembark, was the word. And I can't even remember if it was Greek or Hebrew. But disembark means it led me to foot, meaning we're getting ready to go forth. That's what I've been being led to, that we are getting ready to go forth and to execute judgment for the controversy of Zion. And she will plead with all flesh, and she will give them that are wicked to the sword, saith the Lord. All right? And you want to go read them chapters, Jeremiah 25, Isaiah 34, Psalm 137, just to name a few. And, maybe I can find that. Now I just see a passage here that I wrote down. Maybe it was here. Okay, it is, I believe. No, it's not there. Again, cause them that come of Jacob to take rulership. Okay, yeah, it's Isaiah 27, verse 6. She shall cause them that come of Jacob, Israel, to take root, and Israel shall blossom and bud and fill the face of the world with fruit. Look at that. So it almost acts like, in some sense, that earth represents Israel, which is your head of all things. And so when it says, I will plead with all nations and with all flesh, this is daughter Zion going forth, threshing the nations, That means she's harvesting. She's looking for those that are her children, who receives the truth. We know what Christ died for. He died to put the righteous spirit back where she belongs. She's called the key of David, all right? And we know it tells us exactly what the Lord's wrath is about. From Jeremiah 25:31, we got Isaiah 34, verse 8, for it is the day of the Lord's vengeance, and the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion. Now they'll say the wrath isn't the first 3.5 years. Now I've been saying that too. And yet here in Revelation 6, you get the allusion to the hosts of heaven falling like leaves off the fig tree. And then you get the exact same passage in Isaiah 34 to the Lord's vengeance. And to the hosts of heaven falling yet again. And it has to do with the controversy of Zion. So again, it may be that the wrath of the Lord, or the wrath of daughter Zion, is in view in the first 3.5 years, which is her actually doing her harvest, which is represented for her birthing her children through the truth of the word. And that takes 42 months for her to do that, to deliver the children. But she does it through judgment, right? Judgment begins at the house of God. And the last 3.5 years is of God in the heavens. And that is God 23:16. It's feminine, masculine, and it's mother, really, and father. But it is mother that is really angry for what they did to her daughter Zion. All right? And she birthed Christ. And she says, I give my daughter Zion her vineyards back to her. I give Israel back her vineyards. And here she is seen going forth and proving that she is worthy of these vineyards, because she is now teaching them the truth. She is no longer teaching them fallen theology, which is what modern day man teaches that he's God, he. It was never so. In the beginning, the daughters of Zion was given to man to teach him the way of heaven, the commandments of heaven. And it says in the end of days that what keeps you under bondage is the Mosaic law, which was given from Mount Sinai. It tells you this in Galatians 4:24. It says Hagar is under bondage with her children. But Sarah, representing the Jerusalem from above, frees you. It is her way, her commandments that frees you, all right? And it is daughter Zion that will birth the children. And it's plain and simple. It's called the harvest. It's the judgment. It's the wrath of Lord Zion, daughter Zion. 136, it says the Christ's right hand. And this is what it's all alluding to. Go look the verses up for yourself. I don't know how you can't see it. But there you go. There's the controversy of Zion. And it's plain as day that it is the controversy of Zion, which is the Lord's wrath, the Lord's vengeance, the Lord's indignation, the indignant woman, the desolate woman that was rejected and is now taking back her vineyards that belonged to her and always did. And it's about getting rid of that harlot spirit. And again, it says their judgment. I forget, it's in Revelations. Everyone will put, every other translation puts their wrath, and but in the King James it puts his. So you're left thinking it's Christ's wrath. It's not. Every translation almost says their wrath, and it's referring to the daughter Zion's wrath. And there is 144,000 that are sealed to do this. I believe our transformation is imminent. I don't believe we have very much longer. Not based on the words I've been giving. We're soon to disembark on this journey on foot, is what it looks like. Now, what that truly is going to look like in the spirit, manifested on this earth, I don't know. But we're close. I believe we're really close to this sealing taking place right now. And we're about to go forth for the controversy of Zion. And that's what we're going to call this video, the controversy of Zion. So I got through it. I got it done. I didn't get interrupted. So I'll put this up just as soon as I can. I thank you all for watching my videos. I know for a fact I left things out of that, but maybe I'll tag them in the notes underneath the video if I get a chance. I hope the Lord blesses you on all that you're doing, that you're pursuing, that the Lord helps you to grow in what you're pursuing and help your understanding in this theology of truth, and that's what I truly believe it is. I've studied the words. I haven't studied man's theology teaching me what the Spirit wants me to know. He can't teach me what the Spirit wants me to know. The Spirit teaches that, not man. So again, I thank you for watching my video, and I hope y'all have a really nice day.